5. You know, raising a family takes an all-hands-on-deck approach, but sometimes moms feel like they're going it alone. So today we're sharing ways to split parenting duties and get your spouse to pitch in a little bit more. Studio 5 relationship contributor Dr. Matt Townsend is here to share his secrets. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
We've been texting a little bit the last few months, but it's been a while.
You had a baby?
I had a baby.
Oh my gosh.
A chubby, luscious,
and he's so cute.
Yummy baby.
I saw him. I want to just
cute.
Bite
no,
his
you
cheek.
don't. You're making fun.
Yeah, that's weird.
You're totally making fun.
Why do they do that?
Well, speaking of baby, I just said to you during the commercial break, I'm going to get accused of being like overtly positive or, you know, rainbow promoting or Pollyanna. But when it comes to co-parenting, our topic on the table today, I really lucked out in the husband department. Mark is really hands-on. But you say you hear from women a lot of the times who say, I need some help.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes sometimes it'll devolve, like when they turn into teenagers. Like, I'm a better teen parent than baby parent. I don't quite know what to do with them as a baby. So I need help. And by the way, one thing we'll talk about is the insecurity. We get really insecure. A lot of boys, guys didn't grow up babysitting.
Right.
So a lot of this is kind of new to us.
You didn't get a Cabbage Patch doll for Christmas when you were 3.
And I probably did, because I had my mom and 3 sisters.
That's true.
But I probably, like, I don't know, hurt it somehow.
You probably cut its arm off.
Yeah, I probably did something
in a game of surgery or operation. So are we looking at a 50-50 split here? That doesn't seem realistic.
Well, what I would look at, nobody wants 50% of anybody. Right? Like, I would want my whole wife and my whole wife's attention and help, and my wife would want all of my attention, but our kids deserve 100% of us. Right? So what I think we like to do is think that, well, we know that's not feasible, so I'm just 50% ought to be good enough. But as a dad, I need to learn to pick up my game enough to bring all of me to my family and my kids, and not just defer parenting to my wife and hopefully catch up over time.
Because the research proves there's a real benefit in having 2 engaged parents.
You need a dad, and especially dads do weird things. They help kids risk.
Yeah.
They help kids kind of push the envelope a little bit.
I already see this in Mark. I mean, he's throwing Emmy up in the air, and I'm like having a heart attack. Or he's letting her climb up a playground slide that I never would.
No, she could get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, go, girl, go.
Right.
There's always stitches. You can always do that.
Exactly. Let's jump into these tips because they're really good. Our moms, I want to say, too quick to point the finger at dad for not really participating in parenting.
So remember, one of the most important things, and I teach it a lot on the show, but this is a system. Okay, so, and remember, there's a great quote that says, all systems reflect their creator. So if moms are frustrated that dads aren't helping, can I just suggest you're part of the problem? Not to be rude, but to think he's just lazy is probably not it. What it might be is that he's part of a system with you. And for example, you may have noticed that when the baby was born, you took so much more care and attention. And every time that baby was sat down, you had that baby picked back up. So you may have very well trained your partner that you don't need help. You may not ever want to ask for help. So if you have a lot of thoughts like, I shouldn't have to nag, he should want to do stuff, then you may have inadvertently created a system where you have to do it all. If he can never do it right, he would defer to whoever does it right.
So you come back later and say, what's going on? I need help. And he's confused because you hadn't set that.
You've never needed the help. And even when I help you, it doesn't seem right. So I'm not trying to blame anyone, but I want you to know it's a system. And if it's a system, then all you need to do is a little tweak, and you'll start to actually realign the system again. You can put some of the onus back on them, but you have to be willing to let them take it on.
You already touched on some of the differences between, you know, dad and mom and their parenting approach, but what if your point blank, your parenting styles are completely different?
Well, that's the reality is, right? Because we're so different. So we got to figure out a way to get on the same page. And this is one of the hardest things. Like, one of the things I try to do is just understand, what is your goal here? Because instead of just assuming they don't care, they don't want to be a part of the parenting, try to figure out, what kind of dad do you want to be? We're at a stage with these young kids that there's a lot of stuff we've got to learn and a lot of stuff we got to do. How involved of a father do you want to be? And they will never say, well, I don't ever want to do diapers, or they'll never say that. They'll want to say, I want to be involved. But one of the things you want to figure out is, why aren't they? So if you say you want to be really involved, help me understand what you're struggling with.
So you're asking
why aren't you jumping
big picture questions about the day-to-day responsibilities.
And part of it is, we were trying to understand what is motivating him to stay away. or to get involved?
Yeah.
What is it? And you might find out if you listen long enough, they don't know what they're doing. And they're embarrassed, or they're afraid, or it's awkward, and they just haven't made it a habit yet, or they don't do it on your time frame, or so there's a lot of reasons. And part of what we want to do is let's get on the same page.
Yeah.
Do you want to parent together? Do you want the kids to remember you ever being a part of their diapering, their childhood, their what's it called?
I'm trying
carpooling.
Okay.
Like, I'm thinking, what do you do when you put them in a vehicle and you buckle them in, and do you want them to be involved in
Mark
that?
and I did have a conversation, I'm remembering, early on when Emmy was little, and it was involving the bath time routine, the bedtime routine. I grew up in a household where both parents kind of jumped in and did it together, and he would be downstairs and I'd be upstairs, you know, with
having a good time.
Bubbles and Bath and Emmy. And so there was a conversation like, can we, I'd love it if we tag team
What do we
this
want
together.
this to look like together? And it might be, for you, it was a neat childhood memory to have them together, and it might be something that Mark's never thought about. I never thought that bath time rituals together was something. So do we want to create that as part of our parenting? So start making these things intentional. What do you want? Like Marty is always saying, she wants the kids to see us being more affectionate. And that's a really important discussion. Do you want them to remember mom and dad getting all kissy face? Is that something you want to do to ruin them? And we've decided as a couple, yes, we're going to ruin our children that way.
Bring on the kissy face. All right, we've got to cruise through a couple of these. You say both spouses obviously bring different strengths to the table, so leverage those and use routines to eliminate those reminders.
It's huge. So I might bring a little calmness in the middle of chaos, but my Marty brings so much discipline. So I'm exhausted by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but Marty's got discipline to help us ride out through the night and through the evening. And so we can use her strength to remind us what to do and to kind of motivate us what to do. If times get hectic and crazy, I usually can step in. If the child was crying or frustrated or angry, I usually have a better ability to soothe them and get them to change. And if Marty points out to me, Matt, you're really good at soothing the baby, then all of a sudden it becomes my strength. So now I start finding things your husband does well. Even if he just brings energy, even if he just brings discipline or attention or focus, and then use those gifts that he brings and highlight them. Hon, I need your discipline after 6 o'clock because I don't have any anymore. So can you help me stay to the schedule of getting the kids to bed by 8 o'clock? And use that. If he likes fun time, if he's creative, use whatever his skills are to actually get stuff done.
We're totally out of time, but really quickly, how can women avoid the nagging?
The nagging usually is anytime you're above your partner telling them what to do like a parent. So always try to see your partner as a partner. And if we do that, then all of a sudden it doesn't sound so much like a nag. It sounds like I'd use language like we need to work on this. How can we get the kids to bed? Will you help me? And be more specific. Tell them what you want. Don't beat around the bush.
Okay, I like this. Good stuff, Matt, as always. And you're always finding new ways to reach couples, help them come closer. Where can we get more from you?
MattTownsend.com, and we've got a brand new a big push again on our anxiety workshop. Go check it out. We give everyone on Studio 5 a discount. Just enter in Studio 5.
I've missed you, friend. Thank you so much.